Hey, I'm Ben Pearsall from Bensbackwoods.com. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to show you guys some sets for these 110 Conibear traps to catch squirrels. I had an infestation of red squirrels and chipmunks. I'll show you guys the sets that I found to be successful and what I use. So stay tuned. Alright, so these are the 110 Conibear traps. They are not expensive. These are Duke 110s. I think I got a half dozen for about 30 bucks on eBay, so they're about $5 a trap, which is not expensive. I've got some other traps from probably 15 years ago, and these seem to have quite a bit more spring to them, so I'm real happy with them. Let's talk about bait. The types of bait that I used for baiting this trigger: corn cob there, kind of cut up some corn, and you can poke the trigger right through the center of that corn cob. As the squirrels eat the corn off of there, you can also put some peanut butter on the outside of this on that corn cob there. That makes a good bait. Another good one, kind of one of my favorites here, has been the full-size marshmallow. You can take that marshmallow and you can use it as is. You can coat it with peanut butter. These work fantastic. They stay on the trigger pretty well. Rain seems to kind of degrade these a bit, but they seem to hold up pretty well. Another trick, another bait would be, let's see, this guy here, if you can see it, that's a cap off a pop bottle. Drilled a couple holes in it in the bottom there, and you run the bait trigger through it and put a little bend on the end of that trigger, and so that cap can't come off, and then you fill the inside of the cap with peanut butter. So this little peanut butter buffet kind of hangs out there, and squirrels kind of got to hang on that thing or dig into that thing to get at it, and that's a good reliable bait. So those are the three main baits that I've been using for these types of traps. I'm doing this to take care of nuisance animals, but obviously for survival situations or long-term off-grid situations, these little 110 traps I think are fantastic. I know I haven't done a ton of trapping with them. I'm not a professional trapper, but I see these used for mink, muskrat, rabbits, squirrels, a lot of small critters. So if I was trying to feed myself in my area of the North Woods, I would set these for probably muskrat, rabbits, and squirrels. And they're deadly. You can reuse these things over and over and over. These here, the old traps I had, I think I boiled them, dyed them, and did all that. These traps, right from the factory or whatever, have a coating of oil on them. I did nothing to these. No problem catching squirrels like this. So I didn't prep these at all. One thing to say too is they've got a chain on these. Certain sets, I will stake this loop down, or I will run a nail through the boards. If one of the sets I'm going to show you guys, I just run a nail through this chain, just so if you catch a squirrel, you don't have something bigger like a fox or coyote, stealing your trap after you've got a squirrel in it. So I'm going to show you guys the sets that I've used. So the first sets I'm going to show you guys are these Cubby sets. These require probably the most materials. They're kind of nice in the winter though, because they shed snow a little bit, and they seem to keep on working with a little bit less maintenance once they're set up. This one here is a broken mailbox, and you can see I cut a little groove out of the side there. I'll show you guys how to set it in there. And the mailbox, basically, you can on traps like this, basically you set them on a runway, or you bait the trigger, or you do both. So I like doing both as much as possible. Setting them where the squirrels are naturally going to run, and any tubes. This other one's more of a tube, and I can set one trap on either side. This guy here was a 2x6 and a piece of 6-inch black pipe. I kind of formed that black pipe and nailed it to the side there of that 2x6, and kind of squared it off at the top here a little bit just by hitting it with a hammer and a 2x4, and then cut the notches in the side so our spring can kind of hang out. See that on both sides there. And so I can run two traps in this guy, so that's a dual trap. Both these here, like this guy here, I'd throw some bait in the back of that thing, And then I also would set the trap in the front and bait the trigger. So they're going to be wanting to run back and forth inside of this cubby. So they might just accidentally hit that trigger, or they might try to get the food off the trigger. Same thing with this guy here. So I'll show you guys how I set these in here. Okay, that is set right there. And you can see that the little dog on the top there, it's got 3 grooves in it. I've got it set to the outer groove, which is the finer trigger. So this seems to be the way I've been doing it. It seems to have good luck. So once it's set like that, there it is set. There it is set in the opening of your cubby. The spring kind of hangs out the side. Basically, they got to run through there to get at the food, and baiting that trigger will also give you a little better success for sure. So this one's a little bit tighter with that 6-inch stovepipe. I like this one a lot. It's probably worth making if you want to catch a bunch of squirrels. And that's 2x6 on the bottom, so that basically just sets in there, and your spring kind of hangs out the side. And what I would do too is kind of fasten this ring or a link of that chain to the side of that, or stake it down just so you don't lose any animals or lose your traps. So these cubbies are fantastic like that. That's #1 way that I set these things, and have had very good luck. Show you the other way I set them. So this other way I set them is a squirrel pole, basically. This one is a 4x4, leaning up against a tree on an angle here. Squirrels naturally like to climb stuff and explore things. So what I did is, these are roofing nails right here, and I found a couple in the tree, a little distance apart, probably 2 inches apart or so. And you can see that I let the heads stick up a little bit. You'll have to experiment, depends on your traps. And so what you do for these is, basically, you've got the heads of the roofing nails, and you take your trap and you just hang it right on the edge of those roofing nails. So if you guys can see that, those roofing nail heads are grabbing that trap. It's just gravity holding this thing on. So that baited trigger, and like this pole here, I've got leaning up against a tree. I'll do 2 of them. I'll set another one down here on these roofing nails, and I've got, these are the 2 traps I've been using actually on this set, and I've got them nailed to the side of the tree, or side of the pole, so we don't lose them. So that's a fantastic setup. You do 2 of those on there. You could do single poles for a survival situation. You could carry roofing nails, and you could set this up on a pole that you cut with an axe, and that would be fantastic. So one more set that I use that is very productive. So this is the last set I'm going to show you guys. This one is actually very productive. This is my wood pile here, and I've got little chipmunks running around the wood pile. And basically, I set this trap. This one's baited with a marshmallow right now, and I just set it over the crack there, over where I've seen some chipmunks running in between my wood pile. And this trap has produced 2 chipmunks in the last 3 days. So just setting them like that. Also, you could take a trap like this and set it over a hole or a runway or something like that, somewhere where you know these animals are going to travel. And this has been a quick killer right here. So you don't have to get super fancy with these traps. They're worth their weight in gold in a survival situation. These would continuously catch small game. Well, hey, those are the 3 types of sets that I use for these 110 Conibears, and the bait that I use that I've had a lot of good success with. Whether you're trying to trap nuisance animals or you want to feed yourself during the apocalypse, these 110s are worth their weight in gold. Thanks for watching.